Jimmy Donaldson, better known as MrBeast, had just finished a low-key shoot in a small town. Tired and craving caffeine, he stepped into a local coffee shop hoodie, up no cameras, no entourage, just himself. The shop was nearly empty, save for a few students and a girl in her 20s behind the counter scrolling through her phone. She didn't even look up when Jimmy approached. "Hey, can I get a caramel macchiato?" he asked politely. She sighed, glanced up, and said with a tone dripping in indifference, "Do you even have money for that?" Jimmy blinked, a bit surprised. He wasn't used to being judged like this. Not anymore. "Yeah, I think I'll be fine," he replied calmly. The girl chuckled sarcastically. "Right, you look like you've been sleeping in your car." Jimmy smiled faintly. If only she knew, but he said nothing. Not yet. As Jimmy waited for his drink, the barista kept glancing at him, whispering to another coworker who had just come from the back. They both laughed. Loud enough. "I swear," the barista said loudly, "some guys think wearing a hoodie makes them mysterious." Newsflash, you're not special. Jimmy stood quietly, eyes calm. He had millions of fans, had given away millions of dollars, and built homes for the homeless, but none of that mattered here. "Maybe he's one of those wannabe YouTubers," the second girl joked. "Too bad no one knows who he is." A college guy nearby chuckled. "Definitely not MrBeast, right? That guy would probably buy the whole shop instead of being insulted." Jimmy smiled again, almost amused. He leaned on the counter and calmly replied, "Yeah, that'd be something." The girls rolled their eyes. You wish the barista scoffed, handing him the drink without saying thank you. Jimmy took the drink, nodded politely, and walked to a table in the corner. He pulled out his phone and began typing silently. Jimmy sat at the table, sipping his drink slowly. His hoodie was still up, shadowing his face just enough to stay unnoticed. But his fingers moved fast on the phone. He wasn't texting a friend or scrolling through TikTok. He was typing a message to his team. "Need a quick setup. 1 hour. Coffee shop location. Act casual. No branding. Surprise factor high." Back at MrBeast headquarters, the message pinged several phones at once. His crew instantly knew what it meant. They'd done things like this before. While Jimmy sat quietly, the barista continued gossiping about him. Honestly, people like that just loiter around hoping someone notices them. "He's probably broke," the other added. "Look at his shoes." Jimmy smirked slightly. If only they knew those were custom sneakers gifted by a famous designer. He looked up, locked eyes with the barista for a moment. Not with anger, but with the calm of someone who already knows how the story ends. 45 minutes later, the coffee shop's glass door swung open. A man in a sharp suit walked in, followed by 3 others carrying boxes. The barista blinked. Can I help you?" she asked, confused. "We're here for a flash donation drop," the man said with a confident smile. "MrBeast's orders." The room went silent. The name echoed. The girl behind the counter chuckled nervously. "Wait, what?" Jimmy finally stood up and lowered his hoodie. Heads turned, eyes widened. A student gasped. "No way, that's MrBeast," someone whispered. Jimmy walked to the center of the room, his expression calm and kind. "I heard this place could use a little kindness today." The baristas were frozen. One dropped her phone. The college guy who mocked earlier mouthed, "Oh my God." Jimmy turned to his team. "Let's get started." The suited man opened one of the boxes. Inside were envelopes, dozens of them, each marked with a clean red stamp that simply read $10,000. One by one, they were handed out to every customer in the coffee shop. The barista stepped back, stunned. Jimmy walked up to her. "Even baristas who think I live in my car get one?" He smiled gently. She stared at the envelope, speechless. I'm so sorry," she finally whispered. "I had no idea." Jimmy just nodded. That's the thing about kindness. It doesn't need recognition, it just needs to be given anyway. The room clapped. The student from earlier stood up and shouted, "MrBeast is a legend." Phones were recording now, but Jimmy didn't pose. He just looked around, making sure everyone smiled. That's what mattered. Within minutes, videos of the giveaway hit TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Clips showed stunned customers, the emotional barista, and MrBeast quietly smiling. "This guy just walked in and gave everyone 10 grand," one user shouted in their video. "I thought he was just some broke dude. Turns out he's a millionaire," said another. Hashtags like MrBeast surprise and barista regret started trending within the hour. Back inside the shop, the barista wiped her eyes. "I really judged you," she admitted. Jimmy smiled. "We all do that sometimes. I've been judged my whole life until I stopped needing anyone's approval." Will this be in a video?" she asked softly. "No," Jimmy replied. "Some things are just for the people who were there." She looked down at the envelope again, holding it like it meant more than money. Just as the energy started to calm down, the front door swung open again. A stern-looking man in his 40s, wearing a manager badge, walked in briskly. "What the hell's going on in here?" he barked, scanning the crowd and the boxes. The barista froze. It's It's Mr. Beast. He gave everyone money. The manager narrowed his eyes at Jimmy. Who gave you permission to turn my store into a circus? Jimmy stayed calm. I paid for my drink. I followed the rules. I just happened to be generous today. The manager scoffed. I don't care who you are. Get out. The barista suddenly stepped between them. Sir, maybe you should Google him first. The manager ignored her. You hoodie guy, out now. But before Jimmy could move, a customer shouted, Do you know what you're doing? That's Mr. Beast. Phones were still rolling. The internet was watching live. As the manager continued berating Jimmy, more customers stepped in. He just gave me enough money to pay for my next semester, one young woman said tearfully. Another added, he bought my grandma a new wheelchair last year. That man's a hero. The manager's face tightened. I don't care. He's disrupting business. A student shouted from the back, You're about to be the guy who kicked out Mr. Beast on camera. The barista turned to Jimmy. I'm so sorry again. This isn't what our store stands for. Jimmy smiled faintly. It's okay. I'm not mad. But maybe it's time someone else handled the customer service here. Suddenly, Jimmy's assistant walked in and handed him a phone. You're trending worldwide. The manager looked around as phones pointed at him. His confident posture faded. Wait, what's going on? You're going viral, sir, the barista muttered, not in the good way. Just as things reached a boiling point, the regional supervisor of the coffee chain pushed through the crowd. What's going on here? She asked firmly. A dozen people started talking at once. He tried to kick out Mr. Beast. He yelled at us. He ruined everything. The supervisor raised her hand. Everyone calm down. She turned to Jimmy. Sir, I recognize you. Is this true? Jimmy nodded slowly. He didn't ask questions. He just tried to throw me out, even after all this. The supervisor looked toward the manager. You're done. Leave your badge and get out of this store. The entire coffee shop gasped. A couple of customers clapped. The manager turned red. You can't be serious, he stammered. Over a hoodie guy. That hoodie guy is Mr. Beast. And your career just ended on TikTok, the supervisor said coldly. As he stormed out, someone opened the door for him, not out of respect, but to get him out faster. After the manager left, silence hung in the air for a few seconds until Jimmy spoke. You handled that well, he told the barista. She looked stunned. I really didn't deserve any of this. Not your kindness, not the money. Maybe not at first, Jimmy replied. But what matters is how people choose to change. He looked to his assistant. Does our team need another logistics assistant for the road trips? The assistant smiled, always. Jimmy turned to her. You want a second chance? Come work with us. Her jaw dropped. Are you serious? We believe in second chances, he said. And you just stood up when it mattered most. The crowd burst into cheers again. Phones were lifted once more, but this time, not to expose, but to celebrate. That day, a coffee shop became a lesson in kindness, humility, and how the world can change in just one cup.